Hi guys, let's talk about the magical pin revivals after the peak of traffic has been passed once. Your pin, which was once viral, can keep bringing some traffic, not as much as at the viral day or week, but it will not stop in bringing you traffic. If you have one pin that went viral and gave you 3,000 visits in one day, and then it lost its virality and went to, let's say, 300 visits a day, you should probably be sad about it. But if you have 10 pins like this, which get viral at different times, and then they keep bringing you some traffic, let's say on average they keep bringing you 300 visits a day, 10 pins like this can make up to 3,000 visits a day, don't they? Now you know why some bloggers with older and bigger sites have more or less stable traffic, and you as a new blogger, you don't. That's simply because they have so much more content and so many more pins. Even if they have 0 viral pins happening at any particular day, they still have thousands of pins which do their minor impact, but in total, they end up into a sustainable Pinterest traffic for these bloggers. Is it true then that a pin never can get viral again after it reached the maximum traffic per day? And are you forced to create new content all the time, non-stop, just to get new pins out there? It is true that the same pin image and the same pin URL will hardly get to the peak again. But it would be a big mistake to think that your post itself has no chances to receive new viral pins and new traffic from Pinterest over and over again. This is why I wanted to focus you on this Pinterest traffic revivals. It's already a more advanced topic for bloggers who've been working on Pinterest for about a year or so and who have some pins which were once popular and now they don't work so well anymore. And I wanted to first show you some screenshots from my Google Analytics for specific posts. And my Pinterest traffic coming to those posts in a 1 year span. So here is a post called How to Start a Blog. We're looking at my traffic for March 2018. You can see that the peak of this traffic for the post happened in July 17. And then it went down until the end of the year. You know what happened in January? A very simple thing happened. I applied my pin revival method and the traffic exploded again. You might be confused by traffic going down again here on this screenshot. That's because at the time when I made a screenshot, it was just the first week of March and the monthly traffic volume wasn't summed up yet. Now let's take a look at another pin. It's the post called 7 Cleaning Tips and Hacks. This pin was viral in March 17. Something happened in the beginning of the summer. A little traffic jump, but in January 2018 it went back to high traffic volume. I can tell you that what happened in January, it was just the beginning of season, beginning of the year, so I decided to create new pins for my old posts which didn't bring that much traffic anymore, and I updated the pins for many of my posts, and this resulted in a significant traffic growth. Another post is about bathroom cleaning tips and hacks. It surprised me because this pin has never been successful until I made this new pin revival. So when I published it in 2017 in February, it was one of my first posts actually on my blog. It was just the beginning. My Pinterest account was completely new. The traffic was super low, and actually this pin never did really well throughout the whole year. But in January 2018, I created a new pin for this post. I slightly changed the keywords in the pin description. And the traffic to this new pin for the old post has been very high during January and February, 2 months. So the traffic growth was amazing because it's a post which never attracted any traffic before. And just because I updated a pin for it, this all of a sudden this post started working for me. Now, one more example with a viral traffic spike is this post, which was published in September 2017. I never had good traffic for it, just a little bit in September and October 2017. But on January 30th, what happened, it was a new revived pin went viral. This pin itself, the new one, it was published on January 20th. And just in 10 days, it reached the maximum virality. I can show you the old pin, and we will try to compare the old and the new one to see what has changed. So to find the old pin, I had to go back to September and find which pin was the which pin URL was the most popular back then. And I can show you that the new pin after revival, it looks like this. So the old one, it's the new one. I wouldn't say that the old pin image was too bad, but still the pin didn't work for some reason. And when I revived the pin, I changed slightly the title and the description of the post itself. And this was obviously reflected in all pins going to this post, including the old pin. So unfortunately, I can't show you what was the previous title and description. I can tell you that I changed some keywords in it. And I also added this note that the pin was updated for 2018. The post was updated for 2019. Maybe what I could suppose as well is that this bold statement in the new pin saying that you can earn money by doing nothing. Maybe that got some extra attention to the pin. But let me just show you the system which I applied to this particular pin and for any other pin that I updated to revive it. So the first thing I did is creation of a new image. I go to search in Pinterest for this target keyword of this post, and I check which are the most popular pins of my competitors. You don't need to copy the exact text overlay or to use the same background image as your competitors, but you can look and you should look at what worked well for them and try to do something similar, just a little bit better. The same, by the way, applies to the text overlay of the pin. So when you write the new text overlay, you can start thinking a little bit out of the box because you don't have to copy and paste exactly the post title which you have on your site. You can add some call to action words, or maybe you can rephrase the title so it looks better on your image. The next thing you can do is updating the image size and the location of the text overlay. So I'll explain why. When I started my Pinterest account a year ago, it wasn't clear at that point if longer vertical pins with ratio around 2:5 have better visibility or not really. I've seen many super long pins. They occupied so much space in Pinterest Smart Feed, and they were doing really, really great. They had lots of repins. Back then, I could see easily the repin counts. But by the end of 2017, Pinterest started cutting longer pins to the ratio of 2:3. So all my new versions of pins are now shorter, and I tend to put the text overlay onto the top of the pins. I do it just to be safe because we never know if Pinterest decides to cut the pins even shorter than this. Then another thing that I'll do, I would update the pin description and try to target slightly different keywords. So why I had to do this, and I believe this can apply to you as well. So when you start on Pinterest, you're just a newbie and you don't even know how to do properly the keyword research. You don't know which keywords can bring more traffic. And after some time, in a year or so, you start realizing that there are so many opportunities that you are missing, and there were so many other keywords which you completely ignored. So you start thinking a little bit as a person with search engine optimization mindset. And so it's a good idea to start adding more keywords into your descriptions of the pins, or start adding more popular keywords. And also another thing that you might be missing 1 year ago, it's hashtags, because Pinterest was very much against them back then, but now they're officially allowed. So what I did when I created these new versions of pins in January, I started adding keywords into the hashtags as well, and adding about 5 or 6 hashtags per pin. Then the next thing you could do is go to your post and look at your title and description of the post itself. In some cases, I realized that I didn't use the keywords wisely in my post descriptions and titles. For example, I noticed that in many cases, even if I had the keywords, they were not in the beginning of titles or descriptions. So I had to rewrite them in order to put these keywords closer to the beginning of the sentence. The same could be applied to the descriptions, of course. And by the way, after you make all the updates to the titles and descriptions in Yoast SEO plugin for your post, they will automatically be applied to all of your pins associated with this post URL. And then the next thing, which I also do, it's a trick which I believe could be very important on Pinterest. Pinterest takes not only the title and description, but also the publication date, right, from your post. And we know that for Pinterest, things like seasons, freshness of content, and trendiness of content is very important. So I think that updating the date of publication helps us to give Pinterest a signal that this new pin is really new. And the next thing you need to do is to for all the updates you've done on your site in Pin Validator. I'll show you how you work with Pin Validator. But I can just tell you in advance that if it doesn't work, you might check it in your Yoast SEO plugin if you have social media title and description set for Facebook and Twitter fields. And if it is, then I'll explain to you what else you can do. So let me just show you quickly how it works. I go to Rich Pin Validator. You've used this tool if you once enabled rich pins on your site. And here you need to put your post URL and click Validate. It will show you the current title and description, first of all. And most of the times, it's enough to click here on Fetch New Information thing, and Pinterest will start showing your updated titles and descriptions almost instantly. If this didn't help, you need to go to your post, back to your post, and check in your Yoast SEO plugin. Maybe you have set social media titles and descriptions for this post. Let me show you where it is. So I figured out by trial and error. When I had issues updating my titles and descriptions, it was usually related to the fact that I didn't double check what is in the description of Facebook and Twitter. They have to be identical. If you want to update them, they have to be updated everywhere. So if you had to update your Facebook and Twitter titles, then you'll have to go to the Facebook debugger tool. It can be also called Open Graph Debugger, and fetch new information there as well. So let me just show you where I go. Facebook debugger, and here is the Open Graph Debugger. It's more or less the same. So Open Debugger could be the ultimate point where you can update if nothing else works. All right. Even if it's not updating it immediately, sometimes you know that Pinterest is a glitchy platform. Sometimes it's worth waiting for a couple of days. But usually when you go through all of the steps through Pinterest Validator or Open Graph or Facebook Validator, usually it helps you to fetch the new information for your post, for your pins immediately. So I hope it helps you to get sustainable traffic from Pinterest by reviving your old posts, because it's much more easy to use this strategy than to produce new posts for every pin you need to create on Pinterest.